kindly, gentle woman who made a great impact on Mao. It was almost as though these two people were the yin and yang of his life, and he was drawn strongly to his mother, and himself became a Buddhist, a devout Buddhist, until the age of about 15. He mixed the Chinese philosophy with that of Karl Marx, a rather light admixture of Marx into Chinese traditional values, and from that he formed his own idea of how China could be governed in a new way, how the peasants could be made the guiding force, the propelling force of the Chinese Revolution.
In the 1920s and 30s, Mao began to distinguish himself as one of the leaders of the Chinese Communist Party. Civil war raged between Chiang Kai-shek's nationalists and the communists. Conflict with the Japanese broke out after the Manchuria incident in 1931. The struggle between the communists and nationalists was complicated by the uneasy alliance they had to form against a common enemy, the Japanese. Suffering crushing defeat in the fight with the nationalists, the Red Army left its base in Ruijing, Jiangxi province. They began to retreat in severe cold through almost impenetrable terrain to escape the nationalists. The journey covered 7,600 miles. It would decide the fate of the communists. This was the Long March, which was later hailed as the heroic act that laid the foundation for the Chinese Revolution. In January of 1935, 3 months after the beginning of the Long March, the Red Army arrived at Junyi, a small town in the northern part of Guizhou province. This small town is famous in Chinese history because this is the place the Junyi meeting was held. It was a critical moment in the revolution. 3 months after beginning the march, the Red Army had decreased in number from 86,000 to under 30,000. At this time, Mao Zedong was not yet the undisputed leader, although he played an important role in the Red Army. What happened to the Communist Party and to Mao Zedong himself at the Junyi meeting? These were the main themes of Salisbury's book about the Long March.
As I have written in this book of mine on the Long March, the Junyi meeting in January of 1935 was a critical moment, not only in the Long March itself, but in the development of the communist movement, because at this meeting, Mao Zedong regained control of the Red Army and of the Chinese Communist movement, which he had lost. The march had started with himself in the rear, hardly advised about the fact that there was going to be a march. It was being run by Otto Braun, a Comintern officer, and some Chinese partisans of Moscow. It went very badly, disastrously. And the old commanders came to Mao and said, please take control. Mao was quite prepared to do it. At the Junyi meeting, he took control. He went to the head, and he never lost the head from that moment on until his death in 1976. Mao was the Communist Party. He was its chief. He was China. He directed it, and his word was actually law. Sun Yee made that possible.
Among the participants at the meeting were Mao Zedong, Zhu De, Zhou Enlai, Lin Biao, and Yang Shangqun. Also there was Deng Xiaoping in the corner of the room, making a memorandum as Chief Secretary of Party Central. Liu Shaoqi, later President of China, was also present. Almost all the future leaders of the People's Republic of China attended the meeting.
Longxing time is now 1 minute to 8.
They were born in the year 1900, one to a family of landowners, the other to a family of peasants. An epic tale of enduring friendship. From the maker of The Last Emperor, Bernardo Bertolucci's 1900, starting Thursday at 9, with the concluding episode on Friday at 9, on World Channel.
What do you want to do?
Can we get the bags off?
What do you need?
On a cloudy day.
All you need when you need to be together. Membership has its privileges.
In December of 1949, world attention focused on Moscow. Following the founding of the People's Republic, Mao and Stalin, leaders of the world's largest communist nations, met in Moscow. It was Mao's first trip abroad. Harrison Salisbury was the New York Times correspondent in Moscow at that time.
In December of 1949, I was a correspondent in Moscow at the time when Mao Zedong arrived for the first state visit of a Chinese leader to the Soviet capital. It inaugurated one of the strangest series of events that I've ever participated in. Mao obviously came to do diplomatic business with Stalin. He arrived on the eve of Stalin's 70th birthday. He participated in a ceremonial which marked that birthday, went to the Bolshoi Theater for a performance of a ballet called Red Poppy, which did not delight him very much. It was about the Chinese, and the Russians either didn't know or deliberately forgot that a poppy was not exactly a favorite symbol for the Chinese. After that ceremony at the Bolshoi Theater, he vanished. I could find out nothing about where he was. None of the usual protocol was followed. He made his initial ceremonials, and then, instead of sitting down at the Kremlin and negotiating with Stalin, he disappeared from the newspapers. No pictures, no stories, nothing. I didn't even know whether he was still in town. No one else could find out anything about it either. Finally, a British newspaper, a Sunday newspaper, printed a wild report which said that Mao was being held under house arrest in Moscow. This did stir a little action. Apparently, Stalin decided that he had to do something. He couldn't let these reports go out.